morning, 9 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. They're still working a crash scene on 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. The tractor trailer uprighted. It's off the grass now and still causing some minor delays at this point. New from Israel, the military claiming it has control of the skies above Tehran now, launching airstrikes that targeted a structure where several Iranian intelligence officials were killed. Among the dead, the head of the intelligence organization, Revolutionary Guard Corps. Meantime, Iran has fired a new wave of missile attacks on Israel, killing at least 8 people and wounding dozens of others. Today, President Trump is at the G7 summit in Canada, where he's expected to meet with world leaders. The main topic, the crisis in the Middle East between Iran and Israel. ABC's Rachel Scott, though, says the president has suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin should try to serve as an intermediary in that conflict.
The president did speak to the Russian president by phone for about an hour this week, and he told me much of the focus was on Israel and Iran and less so on Ukraine. Here at the G7 summit, the president is expected to sit down one-on-one with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But up first today will be Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, and this comes amid the president's push and his ongoing threat to annex Canada and try to make Canada our 51st state. Of course, Canada is hosting this year's summit.
Now, Russia is not part of the G7, nor is Ukraine. The so-called Minnesota assassin will make his first court appearance this morning. He's already been charged with murder and attempted murder at the state level. Meantime, the attacks on Minnesota state legislators has lawmakers at every level looking over their shoulders today.
The attack on the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the shooting of Congressman Steve Scalise, the assassination attempt on then-candidate Donald Trump illustrate what pollsters have been finding. A Public Religion Research Institute survey taken before the 2024 election showed that 18% of Americans agreed that, quote, true American patriots may have to resort to violence in order to save our country.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan. There's more rain coming through the Nashville area today, and it comes after flash flooding in Sumner County yesterday. Smoky Bar News reporting several vehicles were stranded at Bowling Ranch Road. Stick around for today's forecast, which is coming up here right after the news. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. We've got the Dow Jones Industrials up 443 right now. The NASDAQ gaining 266 and the S&P 500 index, that's up 64 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Hey, shout out to Brian Wilson for filling in for me on Friday. Appreciate B-Dub coming in with a bit of a drive-by for us and stepping in. It's awesome to have Brian step in and fill the void when I am out. Huge clutch. Love that guy. Thank you. I was at YWLS all weekend.
B-Dub?
B-Dub. That's what we call him. That's what we call him.
Who's we?
Well, okay.
Who's we, Chris?
That's what I call him.
I like it.
For the record,
I'm not against it. I'm just trying to narrow down some things.
For the record, I've never actually said that to his face. I'm a little bit scared too.
Understandable. Yeah, you don't want to get invited to the hot tub party and be like, "Hey, B-Dub.
What up, B-Dub?"
What'd you say?
Shout out to B-Dub for filling in for me on Friday. I was at YWLS, Young Women's Leadership Summit, all weekend long with Turning Point USA.
You're a guy.
Neither young nor a woman. They still wanted me to come. I don't understand it. They still want me to come, even after all this. It was a wild weekend. It was really like a crazy contrast because on one hand, you're very hopeful for the future of America because you have quite literally all these young women. And there's, high school girls, college girls, young mothers. And it's like, wow, man, we are on a good trajectory right now with the future of the country. And so you're like, there's a lot of hope and you're really feeling that vibe. And then you go back to your hotel room and you're like, oh, yeah, World War III, no Kings protests, and the Minnesota shootings. And it's like, so the other side is really just concerned for the future of the country. It was wild. But Young Women's Leadership Summit, they do it every year, and it's to enable and equip young girls with the tools they need to, further the movement of conservatism and build that community so that way these girls don't feel like they're alone. A lot of times, especially in high school and in college, and I've witnessed this firsthand, you have young girls who do have conservative beliefs, but they choose to stay silent because the left really does a good job of isolation and making these girls feel alone. So that whole conference is about building that community. It's very, very cool to watch. And I've seen this firsthand. I went to Madison, Wisconsin during the election with Bo and Gabe. We were doing content for Turning Point. And we're in Madison, Wisconsin. This is before the election. And we'll run into people on the street and we'll do the street interviews and things like that. And a lot of conservatives but the girls especially, the moment the conversation moved to politics, even if they were, leaning into conservative values as we're talking off camera, they would just tighten up and get so scared. And the left has done a good job of isolating individuals and making you feel like you are alone and by yourself. So these conferences are just a fantastic opportunity to build that community. So a lot of fun was had. Great time. The events team over at Turning Point is top notch. They throw the best events. And if you want to watch any of the cool speakers, I think they still have the whole thing up on Rumble. You can go see the clips on Turning Point's channels. And we were backstage and Riley Gaines. Did you see Riley Gaines announce that she's pregnant? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations to her and her husband Louie.
That's cool.
Great people. We've known for a while that she was pregnant, and they were going to make this announcement at YWLS, and we were backstage. It was me and like 4 other people with Riley and her husband, and walking through the plan that she was going to do to announce that she was pregnant. And I thought she did an awesome job.
How does she look? Is she like glowing? Is she?
Oh yeah, she's absolutely glowing. But Riley's gorgeous anyway. So, yeah. But yeah, she's absolutely glowing. She's got a little bump. That first baby doesn't pop right away. I think she's about 6 months along. The second one pops way quicker, right?
Exactly.
Everybody knows that unless you haven't had kids. But she announced, and she announced by talking about Simone Biles. Did you see that? So Simone Biles and her had gotten into a bit of a beef, because Riley doesn't want boys in the locker room or hurting girls on the field or stealing trophies and scholarships from girls. So Simone Biles took offense, took a bit of umbrage to that, and wanted to take aim at Riley Gaines. So Simone Biles went on the internet and said, "Oh, Riley, you should pick on someone your own size," which would unironically be a man. So Riley Gaines, she remembered that. She cataloged it, and she used it while she was at YWLS to help her announce that she's pregnant. This was the scene at YWLS when Riley announced. Oh, hold on one second. Let me get my audio up. What am I doing here? I have no idea. Oh my gosh.
I think the funniest thing about this to me, and her saying, bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a man. How many men do you know that have this?
And, you know, she kind of like pulls the dress back, shows the baby bump. Crowd goes bananas. It was a cool moment.
That's awesome.
So we're backstage as she makes that announcement, and her husband is about to go on stage with her. And, I mean, poor Louie's like shaking like a leaf. He's just so nervous. And he's watching, and like, there's not a dry eye backstage. And then Louie went out there, and we were worried. He seemed a little nervous. But then he gets out there, and he crushes the announcement, too. And, saying that this fight has gotten a little bit more personal for them now. He announced that the baby that they're expecting is a girl, which is very, very cool. A girl first definitely softens you up, like 100%. At least for me personally, if I had the boys first, I think it would have been a little bit different. But having that girl first, it softens you up. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun for them. So congratulations to Riley and Louie, the Barker family growing by one more. That was announced over the weekend. That was very, very cool to be a part of. Riley's one of the sweetest people that you'll ever meet. And if you ever have the chance to meet her, yeah, you'll definitely agree with me. But as we're having all this, fellowship and hope and, this bright, it was just like, a lot of happiness and hope for the future. As that's happening, it's like behind the scenes, we're all like, holy crap, what's going on with Israel and Iran? Oh my gosh, what's going on with the No King's Day protest? Wait. Minnesota lawmakers have been gunned down. So the contrast was just absolutely wild. The conversation behind the scenes was dominated by what was happening on the global stage. And what was happening on the global stage, at least from my perspective, is Israel is trying to pull us into a war with Iran. It's just, I don't know. Hey, people like Mark Levin will say that I'm bought off by Qatar. That's his angle with Tucker Carlson. But I think Israel is trying to pull us into a war with Iran. And I feel like they were like, oh, we'll handle this on our own. We don't need your help. And then as soon as they start getting bombed, they're like, well, somebody please help us. And I don't want to. I don't want to be dragged into another forever war. I have a son who's 7 years old. When the Iraq war kicked off, it's supposed to be quick, minor excursion. We're just going to take out Saddam. We're going to bring them democracy. We're going to get out of there. Everything's going to be great. And we've seen what happened to Iraq. It was 20 years, trillions of dollars. The same can be said about Afghanistan. And I look at this conflict with Iran, and I just see another forever war on the horizon. And it's a forever war that if it stretches out as long as the last forever wars did, that my boys would be fighting in should they enlist. And I don't want anything to do with it. I don't. I want nothing to do with this war. Not one bit. We have seen time and time and time again, when we get involved in the Middle East and when we enact regime change and when we topple dictators and we topple leaders, what we leave behind is not better than where we started. It's not. And I'm not saying Iran's a good guy, but I see the writing on the wall for more death, more debt, and I don't want anything to do with it. That's not America first. It's not. Trump, before departing for the G7 in the 51st state today, Canada, he had a comment on Israel and Iran. This happened moments ago outside the White House in D.C. Again, this is right before he's departing for the G7 in Canada, and he was asked about Iran and Israel. Donald Trump said, well, I hope they make a deal.
President, are you and Prime Minister Netanyahu on the same page concerning how to deal with Iran?
Well, we get along very well, and I will tell you that I think I have great respect for each other.
Can you give us a legal solution?
Go ahead, what?
Mr. President, can you give us a sense of what you're doing to try to de-escalate the situation between Iran and Israel?
Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens. But sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal. Listen, I pray and I hope that this can be resolved and finished quickly. That's what I want. I don't want this thing to be dragged out. I pray and hope that Donald Trump is going to be the negotiator that we all know he can be, the peacekeeper, the peacemaker that we all know he can be, that we've seen time and time again. I'm still nervous about it because for as much as Donald Trump might want to make peace, there are individuals that are around him that really want war. The neocons and the boomers that have been running things for a long time, the military-industrial complex, they want war. The Mark Levins of the world frothing at the mouth for war. He's been frothing at the mouth for war for months. And I don't want anything to do with it. Trump has said that he has no plans to take us into the conflict. And that's good, I guess, for now. Still biting my nails because who knows where this goes. But after Israel urged the United States to join in the conflict with Iran, Trump in the White House is reportedly not considering the move. This is according to Axios. Article posted over the weekend by the Post-Millennial. They said, over the past 48 hours, Israel has asked the U.S. to get directly involved in the conflict between Israel and Iran. However, the president is reportedly not considering direct involvement as the U.S. has supported Israel indirectly. I do think that there was some U.S. involvement. I do. And I think there was probably some U.S. involvement in the Ukraine-Russia attack. I think a lot of that with the drones, very, very similar, eerily similar. Now, we're in a defensive posture right now, helping them shoot missiles out of the sky, and I think that that's great. I'm fine with that. But if Israel wants to start a war, Israel should finish the war. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't. No Iranian ever called me a Nazi, so I just I don't want anything to do with it. I don't. Mike Pence and neocons like him, they would love war with Iran. Lindsey Graham would love war with Iran. Even guys like Tom Cotton would love war with Iran. But Mike Pence was on CNN over the weekend talking about that conflict, and they had to get Mike Pence on because he's an anti-Trump conservative by what they say. I don't know, but he's all for it.
Separate from the U.S. forces and the very real warning that President Trump has issued to Iran about the U.S., should the U.S. help Israel finish it off when it comes to Iran's nuclear capabilities?
Well, I think we need to make sure that Israel has the resources and the support they need, whatever shape that might take, to once and for all eliminate and destroy the nuclear enrichment program within Iran. It was early in this administration. Some of us had concerns. I expressed them that the president's envoy and negotiators were talking about some limited enrichment program. I have held the view that others have, that there can be no nuclear enrichment program whatsoever. It needs to be dismantled or destroyed. Now, if the Iranians want to stand down, I think the president's made it clear he's willing to enter into negotiations, but there can be no nuclear program of any kind, no enrichment program of any kind. And at the end of the day, if Israel needs our help to ensure that the Iranian nuclear program is destroyed once and for all, the United States of America needs to be prepared to do it, because this is about protecting our most cherished ally.
Again, this is what the neocons are spouting from the rooftops. We have to do this. We have to protect our great. They started it. They wanted to get in there and do this. Donald Trump said, let's not. Let's chill. They wanted to kill the Ayatollah. Donald Trump said, hold off on that, please. This is not going to help anything. It's going to make things worse. And I'm sorry, if this goes any further, you're going to see it expand out. You see Pakistan are already jumping out there saying, hey, if Israel nukes Iran, we're nuking Israel. Yikes. It's not something we want to see. But then if it expands out even further, U.S. gets involved. Okay, well, what about China? What about Russia? What about BRICS? If BRICS gets involved and it's NATO, you're staring down the barrel of World War III. And it doesn't seem like the neocons are worried about that at all. And while Donald Trump is calling for peace, you have Netanyahu going on Fox News saying, but don't you know Iran is trying to kill you? Well, I'll bring you that audio when we get back, because it seems like a lot of these voices are pushing us towards war. And anybody that speaks out and says, I don't really want a war with Iran, well, then those same voices that are pushing us to war are saying, well, you're paid off by Qatar. Well, you're an anti-Semite. And it's like, no. I'm just looking at recent history. You took out Gaddafi. Libya's not better. Look at Afghanistan. Did we fix Afghanistan? Iraq, is it in a better spot after we eliminated Saddam Hussein? What about Syria? It seems like every time we take out one of these leadership structures, we create a vacuum and we allow another country to be taken over by terrorists. And then we go, how did this happen? And then it seems like we're right back in this cycle in another 5 to 10 years. It's crazy. I'll bring you Netanyahu's comments when we get back. 922, this is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
We have breaking news, a new development in the conflict between Iran and Israel. And the DOJ may be going after the death penalty in the case of the Minnesota assassin. Those stories coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 928 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. There is no topic that will divide this audience more than Iran. None. I guarantee you there is no topic. You're looking at the text line, Mason, split down the middle, 50-50. You have people that are agreeing with me and people that are calling me an idiot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I'm here for it, though.
Yeah, we're here for the conversation.
No matter which side you take, you're gonna get this kind of response. And
call in.
It's like call in by all means, 615-737-9986. But people are saying, I don't want war, but Iran is the great Satan. That's what Brian said. Who was the one that said? Oh, you want Iran to have ICBMs? Explain to everybody on the radio why you want Iran to have ICBMs. Oh yeah, 7172. I don't want Iran to have intercontinental ballistic missiles. However, I can explain to you why Iran would want them, because it seems like any country that doesn't have a nuke gets toppled in these wars. It's weird that they would want to have those, so that way they don't get overthrown. Again, I'm not making excuses. I just get where they're at. I understand why they would want it. And I think if you can't look at that realistically, you're missing something. And if you can't see the posturing from the other side and how they're trying to lure us into that war, you're not paying enough attention. Benjamin Netanyahu went on Fox News and said, oh, by the way, they're trying to assassinate Donald Trump. And he also didn't bring any receipts. I'll bring you that clip when we get back. It's 9:30, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. In the news this morning, Iran may be ready to get back to the negotiating table. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Iran has been sending messages to Israel and to the U.S. through intermediaries, saying that it wants an end to the hostilities and it would return to the negotiating table as long as the U.S. does not join the attack. The Journal, though, says that Israel has gained dominance in the skies over Iran, and the Iranian attacks have inflicted minimal damage in Israel. So there's little incentive for Israel to halt its attacks. This is a developing story, and we will stay on top of it. The suspect accused of shooting two Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses in their homes over the weekend was arrested late last night.
Overnight, authorities capturing Vance Bolter, the man accused of shooting two Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses, killing two and wounding two others. Authorities arresting the 57-year-old near his farm in the city of Green Isle, finding Bolter with the help of drones and helicopters, saying he was armed but was taken into custody without incident.
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey. Bolter was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder at the state level and 2 attempted murder charges. Minnesota was the first state, though, to abolish the death penalty. However, the Department of Justice is said to be weighing possible federal charges, and that could bring a death penalty if he is convicted. A man who had been kicked out of a Murfreesboro bar has been charged with attempted murder. Police say 48-year-old Ronnie Malone returned to MJ's pool hall early Sunday morning with a gun and fired multiple shots, hitting a man in the leg. He was arrested and charged with attempted murder. That's the latest news. We've got your weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
today. This is not some sort of a perspective where we're worried or concerned. We're vigilant. We're prepared in a strong defensive posture, while the president continues to say to Iran, hey, you have an option for peace. It includes, various aspects of what's been discussed. Iran knows. They know they can come back. They're making their own decisions right now, and we hope they would choose a negotiated option.
That was our Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, over the weekend at the 250th birthday military parade for the Army. Notice how I said Secretary of Defense. They changed that. It used to be Secretary of War. We wanted to become a country that handled things in a defensive posture. It does seem like a lot of individuals want to pull us into this war. Iran is now saying that they want to talk with U.S. and Israel, sending messages via Arab intermediaries to end hostilities. That is being reported now by the Wall Street Journal. Yesterday, we saw reports of Israel saying, no, we're not negotiating. Fox News had this. Israeli parliament member Ohad Tal told Fox News Digital that striking a deal with Iran should not be the goal without first toppling its evil jihadist regime, as President Donald Trump on Sunday called on both sides to come to the negotiating table. We have to topple the regime. This is what they want. This is what they want. And I think that they understand this is very unpopular. Donald Trump campaigned on no new wars. Donald Trump was the first president during his first term in decades with no new wars. It was a calling card. He was the president of peace. That's how we brought over so many independents, right? That he wasn't going to start these forever wars. That's how he won in the first place. The Iraq war was a mistake. Nobody was talking like that. I do fear that if we get pulled into this conflict, we're really going to be shooting ourselves in the foot. We really are. How many independents are going to come over and vote for J.D. Vance if we find ourselves embroiled in a conflict with Iran? Honestly, if the guy that promised not starting new wars starts new wars, do you think we're going to get the same kind of support from the middle that we did in 2024 for Vance in 2028? I don't know if we will. I don't think we will. I don't. And I think that screws us. And we're looking at messing up what could be 12 years of conservatism here in America. I don't like it. This war is very unpopular. It is very unpopular. Bibi Netanyahu knows this war is unpopular. That's why he went on Fox News over the weekend and said, by the way, without bringing receipts, by the way, it was Iran that tried to kill President Trump those times, right? Yeah, it was Iran that did that.
I want to talk about the nuclear threat, and I want to talk about President Trump. You just said Iran tried to assassinate President Trump twice. Do you have intel that the assassination attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with them in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means a pathway to the bomb, padding it with billions and billions of dollars. He took up this fake agreement and basically tore it up. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He made it very clear, including now, you cannot have a nuclear weapon, which means you cannot enrich. He's been very forceful. So for them, he's enemy number one.
Yeah.
Look, they also tried to kill me, but I'm his junior partner.
When did you?
Yeah, I'm his junior partner. Okay. I think that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and I'm not buying it. The first one, Thomas Matthew Crooks, I'd be far more likely to believe that it was a three-letter agency of our own government or something like that than I would Iran, personally. We still haven't learned anything about that. Isn't that weird? Don't you find that odd? And I also find it odd that if it was Iran, that the neocons and the warmongers and the military-industrial complex wouldn't have provided those receipts to further their aim. On the second assassination attempt, Ryan Ruth at the golf course, I think it's far more likely that it had something to do with Ukraine, given his extensive background of bringing people over to Ukraine to fight. So he gets on TV and he makes extraordinary claims. And again, I just think it's because they know how unpopular this is. Trump is very popular. And I think that one of the only things that could, turn a lot of the base in favor of a war with Iran would be Iran taking out Trump. And then you would see a bloodlust from the MAGA base, 100%. It makes me a little bit nervous, to be perfectly honest with you, as to what could happen. But the war is very unpopular. Very unpopular. Charlie Kirk was talking about this over the weekend on Fox News, talking about how the base doesn't want to see this. Young Trump voters don't want to see this.
Here, I think overwhelmingly Americans stand with Israel. The question is, do they support America getting offensively involved in this war? And
Amen. Do Americans stand with Israel? Overwhelmingly. Overwhelmingly. Do Americans want to get involved in this war offensively? That's the real question.
Can say definitively, especially with younger Trump supporters, the answer is no. They want to have Israel fight Israel's war, to stand with Israel, intelligence sharing, defensive measures, totally defensible, and I think is legitimate because over 100,000 Americans, as Trey said, are in Israel. And America and Jordan have a long history of having defensive measures to protect civilians. But the question will be in the coming days and weeks, will there be clamoring for an offensive American strategy against Iran? Will some people say, hey, we can finally wipe them out. We have them on the ropes. I would introduce a little bit of caution towards that, especially from a younger generational perspective. One of the main reasons we were able to get young people to vote for President Trump so overwhelmingly this last election was a reminder that President Trump is the peace president, that President Trump is able to broker the impossible peace deals. Look what he did the other day between India and Pakistan. Look at what he did in his first term. And so I do believe that President Trump is uniquely positioned here to stand with our allies, to stand on the side of civilization, but also understand that his voters, they want to return to America first, to stand with what is right and just in the world, but we do not want a potential endless quagmire in the Middle East, and I'm confident President Trump will make sure that does not happen.
Well, I hope that Charlie is 100% right, and I know that Charlie is working behind the scenes to make sure that that doesn't happen and talking to whoever he can talk to further those goals. But yeah, no, we don't want an endless quagmire in Iran. That's not why we voted for Donald Trump. And it enrages many, many people. A lot of people want Iran taken out immediately. Brian in Clarksville has been hanging on the line for a minute. He's the one that texted me and said, Chris, Iran is the big Satan. Brian, you're on the line now. What's up, man?
What's up? I think they are the great Satan. Here's the thing. You go back in the Bible, and there has to be a matchup of this stuff because of Israel. It was God's chosen country, chosen people. That, to me, that was Old Testament. We are his chosen people. Me and you, bro. I know you're a Christian. But here's the thing. Ishmael will always serve Isaac, right? Do you believe that?
What, say that one more time.
I said, do you believe that Ishmael will always serve Isaac?
I mean, keep going. Let's just get to the point.
Well, okay, well, I'll get to the point. The point is, I don't war either. But by golly, I want a strong president that sends a strong message that says, we don't want war, and he says that. But you got to be able to pull the trigger if you're going to point the gun, bro. I'm not saying we should throw our guys in there and.
But I don't think Trump was ever pointing a gun. Trump never pointed a gun. Trump had negotiations set up for Sunday right before the attack from Israel and Iran.
Okay, well, what about the 61-day deal where he told him you got 60 days? And then I'm not saying he runs Israel, but he probably has a huge influence. Of course he does with Bibi Netanyahu. So how do you say that? How do you say that? I said after that, and then he let them unleash, hell and brimstone on them for just a little while. They started this. It ran through proxies. Everybody knows that. I don't have receipts, but everybody knows they're liars. They're not, but I don't want to obliterate the people. I want to obliterate the leaders that are evil, and so do you. You do too. You just don't want anybody to die doing it, and I don't either.
But this is the thing. It's like if I don't support a war, then I'm on the side of Iran. This is what a lot of people will shout from the rooftops. You're on the side of Iran. You're an anti-Semite. How dare you?
Say that.
But
I would never.
But these are the counterpoints that you get online in these conversations.
I get it.
And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think when you look at when you look at the Middle East and you look at what we've done in that region over the past 2 decades, we have not helped them along at all. We remove Gaddafi, Libya's worse. We remove Saddam, Iraq is worse. Syria is being run by terrorists.
right.
Afghanistan is being run by terrorists. What have we gotten from this besides
100%.
death and debt?
Well, it's because we didn't have a strong leader. We got these, you know what?
I think a strong leader keeps you out of conflict as opposed to getting you into a stupid conflict. And I think that,
I agree.
But I think a war with Iran is going to cause a lot more death and destruction than any war with Iraq or Afghanistan could have.
100%. It will, 100%, because it may drag China and Russia into it, and maybe even North Korea. But I still think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely, if America gets involved, you're definitely staring at down the barrel of BRICS versus NATO.
World War III.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get that. But we still have to send a clear message and be willing to pull the trigger.
But it would be so great to say, but we were morally right as we're ruling over the rubble, right?
Yeah, I guess.
You know what I mean?
He is a peacemaker. You're 100% right. Bro, I always agree with you, but, on this point, I don't. So I guess we just agree to disagree. But I still love you, bro.
And I love you back. And listen, I like the disagreement, and I totally see where you're coming from, and I appreciate the call, Brian. And I get where people are coming from. I just don't have this bloodlust for war with Iran. I just don't. A lot of people do. But I think that even the Israelis understand that this is very unpopular with the MAGA base. You're seeing Benjamin Netanyahu when he comes out and he does Iran was responsible for those assassination attempts. It's like, bring receipts. Darren in Columbia, what's up, man?
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my phone call.
Absolutely. What's up?
I kind of stand in the position that I don't want war either, but I believe that if we don't drop the bombs that go into those mountains and take out the actual target, we're wasting our time. And the only people that have those bombs are us. So in that sense, we need to get involved, and those need to be dropped yesterday. I don't see why if we don't do that, we're just kicking this whole thing down the road again and again and again, and they're going to rebuild in 5-10 years. We're going to be doing the same show again.
Okay,
this
but
is our opportunity to take them out.
I feel like that is so short-sighted. I really this is our opportunity to take them out. I don't think you're really thinking about how hard that would be. Like, do we want to launch a ground war and an offensive into Iran and take them over?
That's where I think that's where you're wrong. I don't think we'd have a ground war. I think it would be a completely different type of war. Israel can do the ground war, but we got to drop those bombs. If we don't drop those bombs, this is a complete waste of time.
I think
they're going to have nuclear.
I think this is a dumb idea.
I don't think it's dumb at all.
I think if you start dropping bombs, you're looking at another 20-year war.
No, not at all. Not those kind of bombs. You take them out.
Okay. Perfect.
Not the civilians.
All right. You take them out. You take them out, and then Pakistan gets involved. What happens next?
I don't think that's going to happen.
But you understand that if you start dropping bombs on Iran, all of a sudden we're in the land of unintended consequences. And you do understand. You do understand Iran has allies, right? And you do understand that there are powerful countries who have interest in this because of the oil that Iran provides to them, right?
Sure. So how are we going to get rid of the nuclear problem we have with Iran? How are we going to actually end it for good, once and for all?
I think you keep going to the negotiating table, man. That's the best route. That's the best route. And I would also add this wasn't an issue under the sanctions from the first Trump term. This became an issue when Joe Biden removed those sanctions, flushed them with billions of dollars in cash, and then they were able to fund a group like Hamas. So they didn't have the money to do it. They didn't have the capability to do it. And the Biden administration rolled back those sanctions from Trump, and now they're able to do this. You can kill them economically without firing a shot.
Well, maybe you're right. I hope you're right. I just feel like we've been doing this for way too long. And anyway, I love the show, man. You're doing a great job.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, Darren, and thank you for calling. Even if you disagree, come to the front of the line, man. 615-737-9986. There's a lot more to get to today, and believe it or not, there's more going on in the world than Iran and Israel. We will cover this a little bit more. Mark Levin is still pissed. I know. He's the night guy. That's what we call him around it. We call him the night guy. And he's pissed. He's frothing. The night guy, he's frothing at the mouth for war. He's been frothing at the mouth for war for months with Iran. It continues.
I feel like it's longer than that.
You're not wrong. And even back to like October 7th, right? And like, I understand, bad day. Have we ever gotten any real answers about that?
No.
Like Egypt warned Israel that it was going to come. You're on the most secure border in the world, the most surveilled border in the world, country the size of New Jersey. The response time was lacking. It's very interesting. But ever since that happened, Mark Levin's been frothing at the mouth for war. Lindsey Graham, after October 7th, went on TV and was like, we should bomb Iran. Like, you understand, like, these guys have been trying to set the table for this for a while. And anybody that speaks out against them, well, you're an anti-Semite or you're being paid off by Qatar. That's what Mark Levin said about Tucker Carlson. I'll bring you that comment when we get back and why he said it. It's 9:52, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Iran may be sending up the white flag, and the Supreme Court revives an argument against providing abortion coverage in health insurance. That's coming up here at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. Chris Hand here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Got a text from 7662. He said, I don't have time to call in, but as someone who's fought in the Middle East, I can tell you with certainty, we cannot win a war there. No more dead soldiers. I don't want my son fighting over there, especially after I've done it 3 times. We cannot get involved in another war in that region. It will accomplish nothing. Where are the vets at on this? You know, a lot of times when it comes to these conflicts, it's a lot of opinions from people that have never been on the front lines. And admittedly, I've never been on the front lines. And so I always lean on the side of not sending our sons and daughters into conflict. I think that that's the better way to go. But veterans out there, if you disagree with me or if you agree with 7662, 615-737-9986. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Stock prices have risen and oil prices have fallen after Iran signaled that it wants to restart negotiations as long as the U.S. doesn't join Israel in the attacks. Investors are cheering. The Dow Jones Industrials right now are plus 468. The Nasdaq up 299 and the S&P 500 index is plus 69 points. Meantime, President Trump has announced plans to flood Democrat-run cities, including New York, L.A., and Chicago, with even larger waves of ICE agents to bring about the single largest mass deportation program in history. In a Truth Social post last night, the president said, quote, these cities use illegal aliens to expand their voter base, cheat in elections, and grow the welfare state. A Fort Campbell soldier killed in a helicopter training accident last week has now been identified as 40-year-old Chief Warrant Officer Dustin Wright. The 101st Airborne Division said that incident occurred during a routine training mission inside Fort Campbell training area. Another pilot suffered minor injuries. Heavy rains in Appalachia yesterday, killing at least 5 people in West Virginia, including a 3-year-old child. The governor saying that several more people are still missing.
Parts of West Virginia under a state of emergency after flash floods swept through the northern part of the state. Ohio County saw up to 4 inches of rain in less than half an hour, destroying homes, washing out roads, and submerging cars. In Fairmont, one woman desperately trying to escape with her 1-year-old daughter.
1 second I was washing dishes, the other minute I'm swimming down the hallway with my child.
Now residents who lost everything are left to pick up the pieces.
That's ABC's Rhiannon Alley. More rain is on the way. The Trump Organization launching its own mobile network called, of course, Trump Mobile. The positions itself as an alternative to major telecom providers. This new mobile venture would have call centers based in the U.S. and phones made in America. President Trump turned over control of Trump Organization to his children, just as he did during his first term. And just in, the Supreme Court has ordered a lower court to reconsider a challenge to a New York state law that requires employers to provide health care plans, including abortion coverage. The Catholic Church says that violates the free exercise of religion protected by the Constitution. That's the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, the WTN app, the FM dial. You can watch us. Super Talk TV is live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and our personal favorite, YouTube. The conversation is always jumping over there in the YouTube chat. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the things. We appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. So 7662 sent in a text, and he said, I don't have time to call. He goes, but as a guy that's fought over there in the Middle East 3 times, I can tell you we certainly cannot win a war over there. No more dead soldiers. I don't want my son fighting over there, especially after I've done it 3 times. We cannot get involved in another war in that region. It will accomplish nothing. So I asked veterans to call in, 615-737-9986. A lot of times in these conversations, you'll get lunatics like Lindsey Graham calling for war, yet he won't go stand on the front lines. Same can be said about Mark Levin. And I don't want to put our soldiers in the line of fire. I feel like we've learned that that's not a good idea. It was 10 years ago today that Donald Trump came down that escalator at Trump Tower, and he said, we spent $2 trillion in Iraq, $2 trillion. We lost thousands of lives. Thousands in Iraq. We have wounded soldiers who I love. They're great all over the place. Thousands and thousands of wounded soldiers, and we have nothing. That was 10 years ago today. Do we want to hear a speech from another politician saying the exact same thing in another decade? I don't. If you're a veteran, I'd love to get your input on it. 615-737-9986. Jim in Clarksville is a veteran. Thank you for your service, Jim. Where do you stand on all this? Yo, Jim, what's up, man?
Hold on just a minute. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Let me say something about this. First of all, I'm a little bit concerned about you and Matt both flip-flopping around here. But anyway,
what do you mean?
I'm a veteran. Well, just a minute. I'm a veteran.
Okay.
How many years has Russia and China and North Korea had a nuclear weapon?
Quite a few.
All right. Why haven't they used one?
Assured mutual destruction.
Right. Those people love to live like kings. They're not going to send off a nuclear weapon and destroy their livelihood and their kingdom. But you take somebody like the Ayatollah, he doesn't care. They believe if you die and kill an infidel, you're going to heaven. That's the difference in Iran and all these other people. Nobody's going to set off a nuclear weapon if we take out the nukes in Iran. I mean, you got to be dreaming. We're not going to go over there on the ground and fight.
So how come that theory doesn't pan out with Pakistan?
Has Pakistan sent off a nuclear weapon?
Pakistan has nuclear weapons, yes.
And have they sent one?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're a Muslim majority country.
How long have they had one?
Quite a few years.
All right. They're not going to send one. They enjoy their lifestyle. Iran is different. Don't you understand that? And Israel is doing our dirty work. Israel is doing our dirty work.
Okay, but then let Israel keep doing it. Why do we have to get involved?
Because we cannot afford for them to send one to the United States. Do you not hear them when they say death to America? Do you not understand that?
But do you think that they can reach the United States with a nuclear missile?
Sure I do.
Okay, I don't think that they have the capability for that yet.
Oh, yeah, but when will they get it? I mean, you guys are dreaming. You need to get out and look at what atomic bomb did to Japan in the 40s when we dropped one. Look at the damage. Look at the carnage. You got kids. You need to think about what you're saying.
I'm absolutely thinking about what I'm saying, and I think
I
that
don't want my grandkids to face a nuclear destruction in this country.
Yeah, but hey, brother, if we get involved in this conflict, we could be looking at that from Russia, from China, from BRICS nations.
How many times has Russia and China threatened and North Korea threatened a nuclear weapon? How many times? Just think about it.
Yeah, but they all got treaties, man. They're all going to back each other up, just like the NATO countries are going to back each other up.
No, they're not. No, they're not going to send no.
You don't think so? You don't think that they have too much interest in that country because of the oil?
No, nobody's going to do that. I'm telling you, unless you've got a crazy one like the Ayatollah. That's the ones you have to worry about.
Okay, so So
how many years again have we had nuclear weapons on this world?
So the
Ayatollah. How many has used?
So
how
the
many has used one?
So the Ayatollah is the good. The Ayatollah is the bad Muslim. The Pakistanis are the good Muslims.
I didn't say that. You're twisting my words.
No, but I'm just
Please.
saying. You do have Muslim majority countries with nuclear weapons. I don't want, and I'm not sitting here advocating for Iran to get a nuclear weapon. I don't.
Talking to a brick wall.
Just talking
That's what I'm running into talking to you about this. Please understand, nobody has used a nuclear weapon, and they've had them for 40 or 50 years. The reason, look at the destruction.
Yeah.
Now, the only ones that's going to use them is the people that walk into a place and blow it up with a vest on. Those people will blow it up.
Okay.
They don't care.
You could be right, but I tend to disagree. I do, Jim. Appreciate the call anyway, man.
You got kids and grandkids.
I sure do.
Just think about what a nuclear weapon would do to the United States if they got one in here. Think about it.
Well, I'm also thinking about what a long conflict in Iran looks like, and how if it turns into another 20-year quagmire.
No, we're not going to fight ground war over there. We're going to go in there and bomb and get rid of the nukes, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do.
Okay. I mean, they don't have them yet, Jim. They don't.
How do you know?
Because everybody's saying that this is about them developing the nuclear weapons.
Okay. Well,
If by your logic, if they had them, they would use them.
I don't think they got them, but I think they're on the verge of getting them. That's why Israel is doing our dirty work.
I mean, maybe they are on the verge of getting them, but this is also the same thing that we've been told for decades now. They're
no, that's not
yes.
true.
Oh, yes, it absolutely is. There's New York Times articles that you can find from the 80s where they say they're 5 years away. You can go back to the early 2000s. Iran's weeks away.
God. Chris, you're dreaming. Bye.
No,
Thank you.
I'm not dreaming, man. It's you can find the receipts yourself. By all means. Mike in the borough. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, how you doing, brother? Hey, listen, I agree with you on we definitely don't want to get involved in another conflict. Like I said, hopefully, like I said, we can try to come to some kind of negotiated deal. But I told you this months ago, Chris, this guy, this supreme leader, he's the guy that's the biggest troublemaker. Now they coming out with new information now that this guy, whether it's true or not, I don't know. They're saying that he was behind the 2 assassination attempts on Trump, this supreme leader. That's what they're saying today.
No, but that's what Benjamin Netanyahu said in an interview with Fox, and he didn't bring any receipts. I talked about this earlier. I'd be far more willing to believe that the first shooter, Crooks, was involved with some of our own 3-letter agencies.
Hold on for a minute, Chris. Why would Netanyahu lie about that? Why you just basically you almost sound like you think Netanyahu is lying.
Totally. No, that's a great question. The same reason that he lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, to drag us into a war in the Middle East.
Well, I don't like Netanyahu no way, but hopefully he's a better man. Hopefully he's a better man than that to lie about something.
He brought extraordinary claims, and he brought no evidence. Thomas Matthew Crooks, it's a weird case. Ryan Routh, I'd be more willing to believe that it was something to do with Ukraine than I would Iran. That's just me.
I agree with you on that, Chris. Netanyahu is not showing any proof of what he just said today. But like I said, Donald Trump is saying that Netanyahu that he told them not to bump this guy off, that they knew his location, the supreme leader.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Donald Trump told him not to bump him off. I don't understand why he did that.
Yeah. I mean, well, listen. When the attack happened, Rubio put out a nice statement, and he said, the U.S. had nothing to do with this. And I was like, it's a nice statement, but let's see if people believe it. And then when the news came out that Trump told him that they couldn't knock off the Ayatollah, okay, so that means that he did tell them that they could do the other attack. It does seem like we're all in the weeds on this thing.
Oh, yeah, we're involved in this situation,
100%.
Chris. Donald Trump, I don't know why he won't go ahead and be honest with the American people. Maybe he thinks it's going to hurt his popularity. But we're definitely involved in this conflict. We're already supplying them with not man actually on the ground, but with military
intel. Yeah, but intel and intercepting missiles, I'm fine with. Like that's fine. Defensive posture, that's fine.
Well, we're involved in it right now, Sean, whether people like it or not. So at this point, like I told you, this guy is going to have to be eliminated, the supreme leader. This guy here, he can't be negotiated with. This guy has a hatred for Israeli people, Jewish people. He wants a nuclear weapon, and he's already made it real clear if he gets one, he's going to use it.
I
don't know if
think
he said he was going to use it in Israel.
But Mike, I think one of the things that we need to understand too is that both of these sides hate each other, like viscerally hate each other. Both of these sides are going to be willing to lie about the other in order to achieve the goals that they have. So I think any information that you're getting out of any side, you need to take with a huge pound of salt. I
agree with you. And if it's found out that Netanyahu is lying about this situation, that Donald Trump in the U.S. should cut off all connections with him as far as I'm concerned, because this guy is trying to get us in a war that's unnecessary if he's lying about it. But if it's true, what this man is saying, then we need to definitely get a man help. But hopefully we won't find out the man is lying, and I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I appreciate the call as always, Mike. Let's go to Scott in Shelbyville. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Chris. I agree with you 100% that we do not need to put troops over there. I think everybody else besides Israel should be helping them clean up their own neighborhood.
Yep.
What I do not hear anybody talking about, everybody says they have no way, the capability of delivering a missile to us. But what I haven't heard anybody talk about lately, they have in the past, is what they call these dirty bombs, these suitcase bombs. And everybody knows we don't have a clue what's in our country right now with the open borders that we've had in the past. What's to keep them from sneaking any of them over here and attacking us with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, you're absolutely right, Scott, and that's definitely a fear that I think a lot of Americans have when it comes to terrorism. I appreciate the call, and whether that terrorism is via Iran or another terrorist group, yeah, that's a huge fear. 20 million illegal aliens, yeah, that's a huge worry. But I think that that's a much bigger fear currently than the nation state of Iran. I think we should focus our efforts on getting those illegal aliens and terrorists out. Now, part of me worries a lot about, an event that could happen that would maybe be a false flag that could lure us into this war. And before you go, oh, it's conspiracy theory, it's like, no, that's what happened in Vietnam. The Gulf of Tonkin incident. Google it. That's a fear that I have. And I also have a fear of the terrorism and actual repercussions from that nation and their proxies here. I think everybody is looking at this reasonably, but man, I still don't support going out there and going after Iran. Let Israel handle it. Joe in Shelbyville, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Joe?
I've just been listening to the comments and whatnot. So there's a lot of things there that people forget about with Iran. Over the last 25, 30 years, they have always been a potential threat, but the ability of them having the capability of sending a nuclear weapon into the United States, I think is far overreaching. I don't agree we should put troops on the ground there. And as far as the premise of we didn't have anything to do with these attacks, I believe there's some definitely falsehoods there. But putting troops on the ground, I think it's a terrible mistake. I think that would lead to another 15, 20-year war. It will create another vacuum like we did with Iraq. Once you take out that Ayatollah who kind of holds a lot of checks and balances in that area, if we take that out of the area, what's going to fill that void? That's going to lead to a serious complication of power vacuum there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And we've seen that happen time and time again in the Middle East every time we stick our nose in that region.
Yeah, so I kind of think it's one of the things where you let Israel handle their business, see how that floats about the region, see how that pertains to Jordan, Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, and those other countries over there. But let's not forget, on the other hand, 17 of the 19 terrorists that attacked the United States in 2001 were Saudis.
Yeah. But Joe, we're not allowed to talk about that. You know what I mean?
But that's the funny thing about the truth.
Yeah.
It always comes back.
Yep, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Hey, I appreciate the call as always. Tulsi Gabbard. This is in March of 2025. She was testifying under oath that our own intelligence networks and intelligence community concluded that they did not conclude that Iran was even working on building a nuke. and hadn't since 2004. So this is Trump's director of national intelligence in March.
Iran's cyber operations and capabilities also present a serious threat to U.S. networks and data. The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program. In the past year, we've seen an erosion of a decades-long taboo in Iran on discussing nuclear weapons in public, likely emboldening nuclear weapons advocates within Iran's decision-making apparatus. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons. Iran will likely continue efforts to counter Israel and press for U.S. military withdrawal from the region by aiding, arming, and helping to reconstitute its loose consortium of like-minded terrorists and militant actors, which it refers to as its axis of resistance. Although weakened, this collection of actors still presents a wide range of threats, including to Israel's population, U.S. forces deployed in Iraq and Syria, and to U.S. and international military and commercial shipping and transit.
That was Tulsi Gabbard back in March. Does Iran pose a threat? Absolutely. And nobody's saying that they don't. But this is back in March, testifying that Iran wasn't even working on a nuke. So how close are they? And is this fear even real? Or is it just ginned up hysteria? I mean, I don't know, man. I can tell you one thing for sure. I don't want anything to do with it. If Israel wants to go at Iran, by all means. If you want the U.S. there for intel and some defensive measures to shoot out missiles out of the sky, sure. That's great. A larger conflict, I want nothing to do with it. It's 1022 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's June, and if you haven't gotten your AC system serviced the best way, the Busy Bee way, it is time. The heat is sticking around, and you want your system running at maximum peak efficiency. Now, maybe you need a new system altogether. Well, this is the time to call Busy Bee. This month, right now, if you purchase a new AC unit from Busy Bee, you'll be entered to win a free 3-day beach getaway. That's right. You buy the unit, and they'll handle the vacation, the gas, the lodging, 2 meals a day, all on Busy Bee. They'll announce the winner on Facebook. Great move if you need a new AC. And maybe you don't, but you can still save some great money from Busy Bee. Free package upgrade on air duct cleaning, $500 off select tankless or upright water heaters, 15% off whole home drain repipes, and just $99 for a full drain video inspection. And don't forget, right now, you get 2 years for the price of one when it comes to that Beehive Club membership. Just $99 covers you for this year and next. For satisfaction guaranteed, it's Busy Bee. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
There is a new development in the conflict between Iran and Israel, and the DOJ may be going after the death penalty in the case of the Minnesota assassin. Those stories coming up here at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones, 1027 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can watch the show. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and our personal favorite, YouTube. Why would you want to watch a radio show on TV? For all the audio that we bring to the table for the radio side, you'll have video on the live stream over there on YouTube. So hit up the YouTube page, hit like, hit subscribe, and share the show with your friends. We appreciate it when you do so. Me and Mason were talking off the air. And this is one of those topics that it is going to divide the audience completely in half.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that you look at the text line, it's split. It's split. You have people going, Chris, you're a bleeping idiot. And then I got other guys going, Chris, tell him we don't need war. It's like it's right down the middle. And the thing that I would say is even if I had the other position that we should nuke Iran, which I don't, we would have the exact same split where I'd have people going, Chris, you're a bleeping idiot, or Chris, yeah, you're absolutely right. We need to glass Iran. Okay. Now, I will say that my position that I'm taking with the no war ends in a lot less death. And I think that that's the side that we need to err on.
Especially a lot less death from people in our own country.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need to be sending our troops over there to die.
Yeah.
Just to put it bluntly, yeah.
Why? Why do we want to do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem good. And Trump campaigned on being the no new war president. Was it 1440 on the text line said, if you watch on YouTube, you also get to see Chris's great hairdo. It's true. It's true. Doug in Gallatin, what do you got?
Hey, Chris, you got some good conversation going on this morning.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
I just need you to educate me a little bit. I want to go back before one of the breaks where the guy was talking about dropping bombs on Iran.
Yep.
And I'm walking and I'm out of breath, but
that's all right. That's all right.
I kept waiting for him to say it, and I think it might be what he meant. I think he was talking about bunker busting bombs.
Yep, that's the one that they want. Everybody wants us to help them with a bunker busting bomb because Israel doesn't have it.
Yeah, and I was just, I've heard everybody talking, all the talking heads, and everybody saying it's not going to do any good unless we do that because Israel doesn't have the firepower to get to those nuclear reactors, and all we can do is take away their infrastructure and we'll slow them down. But, we can't. It doesn't look like we're going to do any good with it.
Yeah, but I would just...
I don't know what the answer is.
But I would look at Israel and say, well, you should have thought about that before you started the war. But you know what I mean? Before you started bombing them. If you needed that, maybe you should have been more prepared. Instead of saying, screw this, we'll handle it on our own. And then when Iran retaliates, you go, we need your help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because essentially that's what they said. They said, will you help us? Trump said no, and they go, screw you, we'll do it on our own. And then when they do it on their own, now they want our help.
And I'm really suspect about were they really within 2 weeks or 3 weeks of having it? All of that, I don't know. Like you say, there's no receipts on that. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, they could be. It could just be more mythical weapons of mass destruction. You know what I mean? Who knows for sure? One thing I do know is that both sides are going to be willing to lie about the other to advance their agenda. And I think you need to take everything with a pound of salt from all sides. It's 1031 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Iran may be ready to get back to the negotiating table. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Iran has been sending messages to Israel and to the U.S. through intermediaries, saying that it wants to end the hostilities and it would return to the negotiating table as long as the U.S. doesn't join the attack. The Journal, though, says Israel has gained dominance in the skies over Iran, and that Iranian attacks on Israel have inflicted minimal damage. So there may be little incentive for Israel to halt its attacks. This is a developing story. We will stay on top of it. The suspect accused of shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses in their homes over the weekend was arrested late last night.
Overnight, authorities capturing Vance Bolter, the man accused of shooting 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses, killing 2 and wounding 2 others. Authorities arresting the 57-year-old near his farm in the city of Green Isle, finding Bolter with the help of drones and helicopters, saying he was armed but was taken into custody without incident.
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey reporting Bolter was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 of attempted murder at the state level, but Minnesota was the first state to abolish the death penalty. However, the Department of Justice is said to be weighing possible federal charges, and that could bring a death penalty if he is convicted. A man who had been kicked out of a Murfreesboro bar has been charged with attempted murder. Police say 48-year-old Ronnie Malone returned to MJ's pool hall early Sunday morning with a gun and fired multiple shots. He hit a man in the leg. He has been arrested and charged with attempted murder. That's the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at United Structural Systems. And when it comes to the home repairs, waterproofing, foundation work, it's easy to ignore the warning signs. I mean, especially with the waterproofing. It's just a little water in the basement. It'll dry. Damp walls after it rains. You hope it'll go away. But the truth is, the small problems are never going to go away. They're only going to get bigger. And if you ignore that waterproofing issue, it's leading to mold. It's leading to wood rot. It's leading to huge issues. United Structural Systems is here to give you that peace of mind, and they've already done it for 30,000 homeowners across Middle Tennessee and Kentucky. They're not going to show up with sales pressure. They're not going to send the sales guy who's worried about his quota. They're going to send an expert that's worried about your home. So whether it's foundation repair or waterproofing, USS is the company to call. They'll stand behind their work with warranties you can trust. These guys are locally owned. They've been in the game for 30 years, and they're here for the long haul. So if you see the signs, don't wait. Call USS today. 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems, keeping homes dry and stable. USSTN.com.
Weather can change in an instant, and you need to be prepared for any outcome. That's why Generator Supercenter of Nashville will help keep your family safe and connected. We make buying a backup generator simple and easy, with financing options available, free in-home estimate, turnkey installations, no worry warranty, and most importantly, the monitoring and service of your fully installed generator. Come see us at our location in Nashville or visit us online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
1037 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We've been talking about Iran and Israel, and I don't want anything to do with it. Spoiler alert. You can watch the show, YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, join us in the chat, and you can also join us on the phone lines, text line 615-737-9986. Tucker Carlson put a tweet out on the 13th, so it was Friday. He said, the real divide isn't between people who support Israel and people who support Iran or the Palestinians. The real divide is between those who casually encourage violence and those who seek to prevent it. Between warmongers and peacemakers. Who are the warmongers? They would include anyone who's calling Donald Trump today to demand airstrikes and other direct U.S. involvement in a war with Iran. On that list, and you'll see the tweet on the screen, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Rupert Murdoch, Ike Perlmutter, and Miriam Adelson. At some point, they will all have to answer for this, but you should know their names now. Mark Levin was very angry about that. And I know you're shocked to hear that Mark Levin was angry about something. Usually, he's a kind and gentle soul. But Mark Levin took umbrage to that. He said, Chatsworth Qatarlson, which is his new name for Tucker Carlson. He's insinuating that Tucker Carlson is being bought and paid for by Qatar. Chatsworth Qatarlson seems to be rooting for Iran, now trashing our president, becoming increasingly unhinged. It says the night guy who yells at the moon. Increasingly unhinged. You know what I think about Mark Levin? And a lot of these old boomer neocons, they remind me of an old football coach. And, like a coach that was great and like everybody loved him, right? But the game has passed them by. And they don't understand that the game has passed them by. And we're gonna have to rudely awaken them to the fact that the game has passed them by. Mark Levin's in that camp. 100% in that camp. Like, Mark, thank you for your service. You had some great wins back in the day. But the game has passed you by. And the boomers and the neocons who are hanging on by their fingernails to this conservative party, the MAGA movement, you need to go. You're not welcome. You're not. And we're not going to win another election if we don't shake this stuff off. Because the independents signed up for a president that was promising no new wars. We have dreams of a 12-year conservative rule. And I have news for you. There is absolutely no way that J.D. Vance is going to win in 2028 if we find ourselves in another Middle Eastern quagmire. It's weird. I know. And a lot of people might not like that opinion, but that's my take. Mark Levin, you need to sit down somewhere. You do. Senator Rand Paul was talking about the conflict between Israel and Iran over the weekend. This is on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. And Rand Paul, he's not up for the war either, echoing, kind of what his dad used to say, like, let's stop this. Can we just stop?
Memory with us. I do want to turn now overseas to the Middle East. In fact, it's an active situation right now. It's our understanding that Iran is sending missiles striking Tel Aviv as we're having this conversation. You've warned President Trump not to get involved in the conflict between Israel and Iran, saying, quote, a war with Iran would make Iraq look like a skirmish.
Yep.
But have a look at what Senator Lindsey Graham argues should happen if Iran does not come to the negotiating table. He says, quote, if Iran refuses this offer of the United States, I strongly believe it is in America's national security interest to go all in to help Israel finish the job.
Yeah, I mean, Lindsey Graham over the weekend, if your erection lasts more than 6 hours, consult a doctor. This guy was just hype about the war with Iran and getting involved. Rand Paul, your thoughts?
How do you respond to Senator Graham's call to go all in and help Israel finish the job, Senator?
Well, his initial response was game on, and I don't consider war to be a game.
Yep.
The hundreds of thousands of people that potentially will now die on both sides. For a couple thousand years, we've had this discussion over what is just war. Not only our civilization, but other civilizations have had this discussion. And one of the things that many people came to a conclusion was that preemptive or preventative war wasn't just. And so there is that. But there is also the idea that what happens to Iran, you imagine what happens in Iran now. Do they coalesce around their government, even though their government is unpopular? Does nationalism thrive? And you would think that they would probably be less likely to want to negotiate at this time, particularly when they may feel that negotiations were a ruse to put them at ease until the bombing happened. So I think it's going to be very hard to come out of this and have a negotiated settlement. I see more war and more carnage, and it's not the U.S.'s job to be involved in this war. Iraq was a mess. Afghanistan was a mess. And one of the things I like about President Trump is he has shown restraint. And so I think his instincts are to not be involved in this war, but there will be a lot of pressure from Lindsey Graham and others to get involved in this war. And I hope that his instincts will prevail.
Yeah, I do too. We'll be praying for peace. A lot of people saying, where did Levin get the second part of his stupid nickname for Tucker? Chatsworth Qatarlson. They're saying that he's bought and paid for by Qatar. That's what I know. It's dumb. It's very dumb. It's very dumb.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where the Chatsworth came from.
Yeah, I don't get that part. I don't get the Chatsworth part is the part I don't get.
Yeah, I guess maybe he's trying to call him entitled or stuck up, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Name. My Mark Levin take has the line divided. I thought Israel, Iran had people divided. Sorry, I didn't mean to besmirch the night guy. Sorry. Yeah, no, I do.
Us morning people, we stay away from them night guys.
Yeah. Well,
not fans. Well,
no. Listen, I do think that there's a whole ring of individuals in the boomer generation that the game has completely passed them by. I do. You get these guys, and it's like, man, are you paying attention to the conversation? Are you paying attention to the base? Are you paying attention to the people that voted for Trump and why they voted for Trump? Do you understand that this is going to mess things up in the future? This is not America first. It's just not. And it's not. It's not America first. This doesn't help us. And Iran, the big bad boogeyman, I'm sorry. Is Iran the reason that we've had rampant inflation in this country? Is Iran the reason we have $36 trillion in debt? Is that Iran? Is Iran the one that opened our border up and gave us 20 million illegals? Was that Iran also? So you get where I'm at. I think we have much larger problems in this country right now than Iran. And if Israel wants to do it, go for it. Do your thing. I'm not going to get involved. I don't want to be involved. And it's not a war that I would want to send my sons to fight. So, can we get the same kind of enthusiasm to go after the cartels? I've said this. I said this on the road to the election. You want me to support a war? How about we go get the cartels? The people that are poisoning Americans and killing hundreds of thousands a year with fentanyl. Can we go after them? Is that no? That's a bridge too far. Oh no. Nobody's ginned up and hysterical for that. Well, that's a war that the base would honestly support. Oh, we should drop bombs. Okay, can we drop bombs on the cartels? No, nobody's signing up for that. Well, all right. Yeah, that's where we're at. There's a lot of cable news addicted individuals out there on both sides. I mean, if you looked at the No Kings protest over the weekend, you saw that as well. If you were to filter out the illegal aliens and the Antifa members, what you'll find is a lot of cable news addicted boomers who are out there saying that Donald Trump can't be our king. And well, I would just like to say congratulations, liberals. You did it. I woke up after the protest. We didn't have a king. Nailed it. Did you see the memes online? Normally, we celebrate No Kings Day on July 4th. Yet here we are. They had a No Kings Day protest in Canada, the 51st state where Donald Trump is today, where they're having the G7, which is ironic because they answer to a king. That's idiots. Not a good look. But I say boomer cable news addicted individuals, and I'm talking about people like this woman who was at the No Kings protest. Fox News got her for an interview. Just listen to what cable news has done to this generation.
I'm just so scared. I'm 74 years old. I worry about everything, and I just am so scared and upset, and I don't understand why people voted for this person.
Yeah, fear. It's a powerful motivator. Both sides use it. Let's be perfectly honest. And the boomers are very susceptible to it. They are. They get all their information from the internet. I mean, from cable news. They don't know how to use the internet. It's insane. Jamie Raskin was at one of those No Kings protests, and Jamie Raskin pushing the kind of rhetoric that led to 2 assassination attempts against Donald Trump, the same kind of unhinged rhetoric that has these masses of boomers just losing their minds.
No kings and we've got no slaves. We've got no masters and no serfs. Those of us who aspire and attain to public office are nothing but the servants of the people. And the moment that somebody in public office begins to act like the master of the people, that is the moment to evict, eject, reject, impeach, try, convict, and start all over again.
Evict, eject, reject, impeach, try, convict. That's Jamie Raskin for you. I love how at the beginning he said, no, we're not going to have any slaves. Also, don't get rid of the illegal aliens because we need the slave labor. Is that what they're saying? Yeah, that's what they do. Randy Weingarten was out there as well. She's the head of one of the largest teachers unions in the country. Randy Weingarten. It's really funny to me that we have these No Kings protests brought to you by the same Democrat Party who said you can't go to a restaurant unless you're vaccinated. You have to stand 6 feet away from individuals. You have to put a mask on your face. You have to put a mask on your kid's face. Your kids can't go to school unless they're wearing the mask. Your kids can't go to school unless they get the vax. And now they're saying no kings, no kings. Yeah. The lack of self-awareness. But Randy Weingarten was at their American Federation of Teachers President Randy Weingarten, completely unhinged.
Billy, you are the community to this president's chaos. And together, we build a future of opportunity and justice for all. Hope over fear, aspiration over anger, the promise of America for each and every American. That is what we are fighting for today.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Randy. She stepped down from the DNC, by the way. Did you see that? Yeah, they said, Randy, you're not hitting the mark anymore. You got to go. I feel like she was removed, and then they let her resign nicely. You know what I mean?
Aim's a little off.
You're not wrong. There was a Pennsylvania Democratic County Commissioner directing his community to directly interfere with ICE operations at one of these No Kings protests. This was the one in Philadelphia. That was the big one over the weekend was Philadelphia. Listen to this.
We need to be out here with the community, marching in the streets and saying that we will not abide this. We need to use our authority and our position to stand in front and block ICE from taking neighbors whenever possible. We need
stop them from taking neighbors whenever possible, even if those neighbors happen to be gang members, terrorists, murderers, rapists, child rapists, and so on. We have to get in the way. These are who these people are defending. It was wild though. At one of the protests, Salt Lake City, there was actually there was shots fired in the crowd. It turned absolutely violent. I will say this, and I don't know if you've ever done the defense systems training with Brink Fiddler, but I think even Brink Fiddler would be impressed with this liberal woman's situational awareness as she realizes shots are being fired in the crowd. Listen to this.
Oh my God, that's a gun.
Now, at this point, the majority of the crowd is still walking around not paying attention to anything. And this woman, who I can only assume would be a liberal because she's at the No King's Day protest, maybe she's a conservative, just there getting content, but she goes, that's a gun. We need to move. Fantastic awareness.
That's a gun. Come on. Come on. Get out. Get over here. Shay, come here. That was a gun.
Yep. She's not wrong.
Okay.
She's not wrong. It was a gun, and actually, that individual who was shot, he didn't make it. Salt Lake City Police confirmed that the individuals involved in a shooting that left one person dead on Saturday at the No Kings protest were participants in the demonstration. There's about 10,000 people attending that protest in Salt Lake City throughout the day. Police said they responded to gunfire at the protest, found one individual with a gunshot wound who was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officers pursued a person of interest, also injured by gunfire, who was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Authorities asked people to leave the area in a safe and orderly manner. But this is who's out there in the streets. These are the mostly peaceful protests that they're telling us about. It's absolutely insane. The Texas Capitol, also during the No Kings protest, was evacuated over credible threats. Governor Abbott ended up deploying the National Guard. Mayor Karen Bass, she said, actually, L.A. was mostly peaceful. Huh. That's weird because I have evidence to prove the exact opposite, and I'll tell you about it when we get back. 10:52, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
All right, more rain coming to Nashville despite some flooding concerns out there, especially in southern Kentucky. More airstrikes from Iran and Israel, and you got to hear what happened right in the middle of an Iranian state TV broadcast. I've got that for you coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I just saw the video of that. Wild.
That's scary, dude.
Oh, my gosh. Ken Weaver's got some great headlines on the way. It's 10:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. A lot of people mad at me for calling Mark Levin an old boomer.
You're like Bo Diddle.
Sorry, man. Danny in Lebanon wants me to know that he's a boomer and he's not stupid. What's up, Danny?
Hey, man, I just want to let you know, I mean, you wore the boomers out during the past 40 minutes. And, I worked in law enforcement most of my adult life, and darn, I used a whole computer, too.
Hey, man, listen, you know the kind of boomer that I'm talking about.
Well, but if somebody just tuned in, all they heard was boomer, boomer, boomer.
Fair enough. Painting with a broad brush.
I just want to let you know, some of us have a brain.
Listen, if you're listening to WTN, that checks out. I appreciate the call, Danny. Not all boomers, but boomer lives matter. All right, they do. I do. Yeah, not all boomers, but there's a good contingent of y'all, and you know the ones I'm talking about. You guys went to school with them and grew up with them. You know the ones that I'm referring to, where the games pass them by and they're addicted to cable TV, and that's where they get their opinion. You know exactly who I'm talking about. It's 11 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Got more airstrikes from Iran and Israel. This is a clip going around purported to be Iranian state TV being interrupted by an Israeli airstrike after Israel had warned people living in the capital to get out. And that was all for that broadcast. Officials in Israel say at least 5 people have been killed in overnight missile attacks by Iran, and Israel says it has achieved air superiority all the way to the Iranian capital. ABC News chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell walked through an apartment block in Tel Aviv struck by an earlier Iranian missile that made it through the Israeli air defenses.
It's not a military site. This is a residential site. A children's teddy bear on the ground, a woman's purse. Total devastation.
President Trump is at the G7 summit in Canada today, where he's expected to meet with world leaders. The main topic will likely be the crisis in the Middle East. And the attacks on Minnesota. State lawmakers Saturday has lawmakers at every level looking over their shoulders today. ABC's Jim Ryan says they may change the way they deal with the public.
In order to stay in contact with constituents, both state lawmakers shot in suburban Minneapolis Saturday had published their home addresses. After the shootings, officials in neighboring North Dakota pulled that information from their legislator biography pages. Back in Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz decried the violence.
This cannot be the norm. It cannot be the way that we deal with our political differences.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
The No Kings protests are not slowing President Trump's roll on mass deportation plans. We get more from ABC's Matt Gutman in Los Angeles, the site of 9 days of protests.
Overnight, the president doubling down on his commitment to mass deportations, vowing to create the largest mass deportation program in history. And that, of course, is likely to inflame anger here and fear among the public that they could just be plucked off the streets here.
As for those protests, a bystander was shot and killed in Salt Lake City, Utah. Heavy rain in Appalachia on Sunday has killed at least 5 people in West Virginia, including a 3-year-old child. The governor says several more people are missing. ABC's Alec Perez is in Wheeling with more.
In Fairmont, a rear wall partially collapsing during the floods. Water gushing from the roof. Cheyenne Sullivan escaping with her 1-year-old daughter.
We almost got stuck in there. I had to move everything out from in front of the door and swim out of the apartment down the hallway pretty much. It was like 4.5 foot of water.
Outside, cars totaled, personal belongings now scattered.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I don't know. Should we talk about that on the air?
I'm up. I'm here for it.
So, like, all right, me and Mason were laughing off the air. So, in the bathroom here at the office,
yeah,
there's like a hole in one of the walls inside the stall. And it's been here since, like, I was a producer. I think that hole was
Yeah, it's been here for so long.
for, like, years.
Yeah, at least 4.
And apparently management just found out about it. So we just got a large email about vandalizing stuff.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, maybe it did just happen, and we're just not realizing. Maybe this is a different wall.
Maybe there's a new hole.
Maybe they're mad about our boomer conversation.
Maybe that's a lot of people are mad about the boomer thing.
Just a little bit. This is not 50-50.
All right, so it is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can watch the show anywhere on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe. You can listen to us also anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. A lot of people taking umbrage to the boomer comments. Yep.
Yeah, they're a little upset.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you boomers were so soft. I'm just gonna double down. No, you guys know who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. So, they're good boomers. They're great boomers. My dad, boomer, love him. He raised me to be a good conservative. Trust me, I understand. There's a good chunk of you guys that know how to use the internet, know how to watch and find different news sources and get to the truth. That's why you guys are here listening to 99.7. I'm talking about the boomers that are standing outside in the No Kings protest. I'm talking about the boomers who don't realize that the game passed them by, and Donald Trump was elected to start no new wars. That's the issue. That's the issue.
Yeah, they're the boomers we're talking about are the ones that use Google as a search bar.
Yeah.
For searching websites or for more Facebook memes.
Or the ones that believe Mayor Karen Bass out of L.A. when she says that the riots have been mostly peaceful and they won't stop until ICE enforcement is done. This was Karen Bass over the weekend on CNN, State of the Union. They had her on to let everybody know how great things are in L.A.
If the raids hadn't happened, then that protest would have been a No Kings protest. We know that that was planned months in advance. But the disruption and the fear that has been caused by the raids has really had a devastating effect and has been a body blow to our economy. I don't think the president understands that we have entire sectors of our economy that cannot function without immigrant labor.
Oh, we need the slave labor, says Mayor Karen Bass, or we're not going to be able to function. All right, sorry. No. Donald Trump has said that he's doubling down on enforcement and immigration raids in L.A., Chicago, New York, the big blue cities. I think that a lot of the thrashing and the wildness that you're seeing out of the Democrats are because they understand the jig is up. Now, they'll never admit that these illegal aliens are voting. Oh, no, that would never happen. That would never happen. But we can all say without a shadow of a doubt now that these illegal aliens are getting counted in things like the census, and that's going to lead to direct representation inside these states. And if you know anything about California, it's that their population of American citizens have been fleeing that state at a wild rate. We've actually welcomed quite a few of them here to Tennessee. So they need those illegal aliens. They need that representation. She also says that, listen, things didn't get hairy and violent until Donald Trump started with the raids. And it's like, okay, well, what about the 10 injured L.A. police officers? Is that also Donald Trump's fault? Because 10 officers were injured after L.A. anti-ICE rioters threw rocks, Molotov cocktails, and fireworks at police over the weekend. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna revealed that nearly a dozen deputies have been injured during ongoing anti-ICE riots across the city. And I think I speak for all of us when we say we can't let Donald Trump keep getting away with this. So dumb. So dumb. It's mostly peaceful. One LA City Councilwoman, Imelda Padilla, she has actually asked, this is in an actual meeting, a city council meeting. She actually asked the chief of the LAPD to tip them off to any ICE raids that may be happening in the city. I kid you not.
Can we use technology like AI technology to create a situation where your department can identify, hey, there's agents, non-city of LA, in a neighboring town, everyone go on alert in a way where you can support our business community and our immigrant community to know that it's time. That's something related to the lack of due process, the lack of warrants is about to hit our town. I'm asking a creativity question here. What can your department do to do more to warn us, to warn the business community that outside of our LA borders, coming in from Inglewood, coming in from Antelope Valley, I don't know, you can warn us so that we can warn our folks?
Looking for creativity here, she says. Let's be creative. How can you, as the Los Angeles Police Department chief, warn us when other agencies are going to be doing these immigration raids? That's the question. How can we use AI? How can we get creative? How can we be warned so that way we can warn our neighbors, the gang members, the terrorists, the murderers, the rapists, the child rapists? How can we warn them that these enforcement operations are coming? The LAPD chief's answer is money.
In the spirit of your loyalty to the city of Los Angeles.
So you're asking me to warn you about an enforcement action being taken by another agency before it happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Why not?
That would be obstruction of justice. You may want to talk to the city attorney about that.
Yeah, you may want to consult your attorney. It's not going to happen. Now, there's some stuff happening when it comes to immigration, though, that I think everybody needs to pay attention to. The Trump administration has paused workplace raids on worksite enforcement for farming, hotel, and restaurant industries. I don't like this at all. I really don't. The Trump administration has put a pause on immigration and customs enforcement, worksite operations, and detaining illegal immigrants in the agriculture, hotel, and restaurant industries. So if you're a cartel member, just work part-time at a restaurant or in a hotel, and then you're good to go. I don't like it at all. The New York Times reported this. Effective today, please hold on all worksite enforcement investigations operations on agriculture, including aquaculture and meatpacking plants, restaurants, and operating hotels, a senior ICE official put out to other authorities, the New York Times reported. The move from Trump comes as the president has promised to prioritize deporting the worst first, those who have committed violent crimes, threats to the public safety, and are members of foreign terrorist gangs such as Tren de Aragua. There's also been rumors that amnesty could be incoming for these hotel, agriculture, and farm workers, and I hate that idea. Hate it. Viscerally, with a passion. The last time we had a big amnesty thing, California never went back. Yeah, thanks, Reagan. Did a lot of great things. That was awful. U.S. President, this is from Reuters. U.S. President Donald Trump said he would issue an order soon to address the effects of his immigration crackdown on the country's farm and hotel industries, which rely heavily on migrant labor. Our farmers are being hurt badly, and we're going to have to do something about that. We're going to have an order on that pretty soon, Trump said at a White House event, adding that the order would address the hotel sectors too. He did not say what changes the order would implement or when it would take effect. Representatives to the White House and Department of Homeland Security had no specific comment on the order, while representatives of the Department of Agriculture could not be immediately reached. We will follow the president's direction and continue to work to get the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens off of America's streets, DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said. U.S. farm industry groups have long wanted Trump to spare their sector from mass deportations, which could upend a food supply chain dependent on immigrants. Nearly half of the nation's approximately 2 million farm workers and many dairy and meatpacking workers lack legal status, according to the Department of Labor and Agriculture. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins told CNBC that Trump would be reviewing all possible steps, but that Congress would have to act. Zippy Duvall, president of the American Farm Bureau Federation, a leading farm lobby, said on Thursday that farm workers were key to the nation's food supply, so if these workers are not present in fields and barns, there's a risk of supply chain disruption similar to the experience that happened during the pandemic. Are we really arguing that we need slave labor to keep going? Is that what we're doing? And then the rumors are that Donald Trump could amnesty some of these people. I don't know if that's going to happen. I hate it if it does. I do. Now, there's a smaller farm, Merriweather Farms, and they posted a response to the lack of crackdowns, the pause on enforcement at these workplaces that involve agriculture, hotels, and restaurants. And they were responding particularly to farms, okay? And Merriweather Farms posted this. It's got 4 million views on X. I retweeted it on my page as well, at Chris Hand on Air. I said, just want to reiterate, this is Merriweather Farms. Just want to reiterate, we only hire U.S. citizens on our farm and in our meatpacking plant. All of our full-time employees have health care. We do this by being vertically integrated and diversified. Most small operations like ours rely on family members, hire locals, or on the rare occasion, use legal and seasonal visa programs. The recent order released by the Department of Homeland Security regarding ICE raids will only benefit big packers and big ag who exploit illegal labor. We're very supportive of President Trump and all he is doing for this country. However, if the leadership at the USDA is actually interested in saving agriculture, perhaps they shouldn't rely on information coming from the operations that are putting small guys like us out of business. We are ready and willing to collaborate with the Trump administration on how to deliver on his immigration mandate while also protecting the small and independent producer. And then they say, for questions, email us, info@merriweatherfarms.com. I'm here for it. I don't think that we should stop any of this enforcement. We need to get all of these illegal aliens out. That's my opinion. I understand the strategy of the worst first, but no. I hate the idea of the pause. Hate it. Again, what is going to stop a cartel member, a human trafficker, you name them, a Tren de Aragua member, an MS-13 member from picking up a shift at Applebee's? What's going to stop that? I don't like it one bit. I really don't. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. Again, the rumors were amnesty, but we'll have to see if that comes to pass. I don't think it will. But that's the rumors. That's what people are talking about online. We do know that DHS has paused worksite enforcement at farms and at agriculture and hotels and restaurants. Now, when it comes to Donald Trump, he did post on True Social, this was yesterday, saying that he's doubling down. He is absolutely doubling down on enforcement operations. And he posted a lengthy Truth Social post saying, Our nation's ICE officers have shown incredible strength, determination, and courage as they facilitate a very important mission, the largest mass deportation operation of illegal aliens in history. Every day, the brave men and women of ICE are subjected to violence, harassment, and even threats from radical Democrat politicians, but nothing will stop us from executing our mission and fulfilling our mandate to the American people. ICE officers are herewith ordered by notice of this truth to do all in their power to achieve the very important goal of delivering the largest mass deportation program in history. In order to achieve this, we must expand efforts to detain and deport illegal aliens in America's largest cities, Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, where millions upon millions of illegal aliens reside. These and other such cities are the core of the Democrat power center, where they use illegal aliens to expand their voter base, cheat in elections, and grow the welfare state, robbing good-paying jobs and benefits from hard-working American citizens. And I would point out, pausing that enforcement on restaurants and hotels and farms. You're doing the same thing. But anyway, that is why they believe in open borders. These radical left Democrats are sick of mind, hate our country, and actually want to destroy our inner cities. They're doing a good job of it. There's something wrong with them. That is why they believe in open borders, transgender for everybody, and men playing women's sports. And that is why I want ICE, Border Patrol, and our great and patriotic law enforcement officers to focus on our crime-ridden and deadly inner cities and those places where sanctuary cities play such a big role. You don't hear about sanctuary cities in our heartland. I want our brave ICE officers to know that real Americans are cheering you on every day. The American people want our cities, schools, and communities to be safe from illegal alien crime, conflict, and chaos. That's why I've directed my entire administration to put every resource possible behind this effort and reverse the tide of mass destruction migration that has turned once idyllic towns into scenes of third world dystopia. Our federal government will continue to be focused on remigration of aliens to the places where they came and preventing the admission of anyone who undermines domestic tranquility of the United States. To ICE, FBI, DEA, ATF, the Patriots at the Pentagon, and State Department, you have my unwavering support. Now go get the job done. DJT. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Reports say that thousands of people have heeded Israel's warning and left the Iranian capital, Tehran, ahead of more missile strikes. But one of them hit right in the middle of Iranian state TV. We'll let you hear that again. Also, President Trump at the G7 summit was just asked why he directed ICE to focus on Democratic cities. These stories and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom, one of the best. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Did you see the video of that bomb hitting?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. For those of you watching on the stream, this is why you got to watch on YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, all the things, because we will have the video for you. So I have the video right here. If you want to throw that up on the screen for me. So first of all, they let women do news in Iran. Did you know that?
Apparently so.
I had no idea. So this woman's doing news, and she's telling it like it is, I'm sure. Is this their equivalent of CNN? Maybe it's their equivalent of CNN. But the scene is just absolutely horrific when they get hit with a bomb. Watch this. She sounds sweet. She sounds nice.
آنچه که ملاحظه کردید صدایی که شنیدید فضای غبارآلود استادیوم
And whoa, gotta go. And they're out of there. Tell you what, Ken Weaver would have finished that broadcast. I'm just being real. I'm just being 100% honest with you.
We'll have more after this break.
Like Ken would have. I don't even think Ken would have got out of the chair. Ken would have been like, it's a little dusty, but we're good. I just do the news, boys. He's like, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, just a little extra dust.
Breaking news. We've been hit by a missile. It's like, Ken would have finished that.
Whew, that was something, man.
Unreal. But she got out of there fast.
Yeah, well, she's gone.
But it was like, and then we'll be right back.
I mean, it looks like maybe the studio went up in smoke, but you can hear producers or somebody in the background. So I think everybody's okay. They're on the set.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like the building just came down around them or anything like that because the camera's still recording. Yeah, you see some dust and some smoke. But yeah, it seems like everybody's okay. Here's that moment of impact one more time if you're watching on the stream. Oh, gotta go.
Gotta go.
You know what she's thinking, too, right?
What's that?
I don't get paid enough for this. 100%.
Absolutely,
100%. That's what I do not get paid enough for this. All right, so that was the scene. What was that? Live on the air. Iranian state TV station getting bombed by Israel. Crazy. All right, Donald Trump is at the G7 today, and he's meeting with the world leaders, standing next to Mark Carney, and he was asked about Iran and Israel, and he said, listen, Iran is not going to win the war, so they definitely should talk before it's too late. This is Donald Trump moments ago.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Now, that question's being asked because that's what the Wall Street Journal is reporting. So we'll hear from President Trump and see what he thinks.
Yeah. What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
I like it. Hey, get to the negotiating table. Let's get some peace here immediately before it's too late. I gave you some time. You guys kind of screwed that one up. Can we fix it now? I love that Donald Trump is still out there pushing for peace instead of pushing for bloodshed. I think that's exactly why we elected him. He says, listen, Iran's not going to win, but they need to get to the table, and they need to talk. And I don't know if Iran's going to win or Israel's going to win. I just do know if this escalates any further, we're looking at a lot, and I mean a lot of bloodshed and lost lives. And that no matter how you shake it, that's going to be the result. And I just pray that we can find something peaceful instead of more war, more lives lost, and another Middle Eastern quagmire. It's 11:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Reports say thousands of people heeded Israel's warning and left the Iranian capital, Tehran, ahead of more missile strikes today. This is what it sounded like when one of those interrupted Iranian state TV. You just saw that on our screen there on Supertalk 99.7 WTN YouTube that Chris brought up. President Trump.
Do you know what a super texter said to me?
What's that?
4460 texted in and goes, wow, that story blew up in her face.
Yeah. Yes, it did.
Awful.
President Trump says Iran would, quote, like to talk about de-escalating the conflict with Israel. But as you heard the president say, they had 60 days ago, and they waited too long. Israel saying it has achieved air superiority all the way to the Iranian capital, and the USS Nimitz carrier strike group is sailing toward the Middle East ahead of schedule. This, according to Fox News. President Trump there at the G7 summit in Canada. Before going into that meeting, he was asked why he directed ICE to focus on Democratic cities.
Biden allowed 21 million people to come into our country. Of that, vast numbers of those people were murderers, killers, people from gangs, people from jails. They emptied their jails out into the U.S. Most of those people are in the cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities, and they think they're going to use them to vote. It's not going to happen.
That president also expected to meet one-on-one on the sidelines of that summit with Ukraine's President Zelensky. On the agenda, Russia's war in Ukraine, the back-and-forth strikes by Israel and Iran, energy and trade. We'll tell you how it goes there with President Trump at the G7 in Canada. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. These guys are the best, and they're celebrating President Trump with some great deals for you. You know, they tried to get Trump 34 times. It didn't work. We got the big 47. And the American people and the 47th president rolling strong, and the Wellness Institute of Nashville wants you to remember that number 34, and they're incorporating into this new deal, the $34 presidential special. Just $34 for your first consultation, x-rays if you need them, and your first treatment. Trump never quitted on us, so Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, they're not going to quit on you. They're fighting your back and knee pain with non-surgical spinal decompression. It is time to say goodbye to neck pain, sciatica, tingling limbs, sleepless nights, disc bulges, and even spinal stenosis. And you can do that without surgery, without pills, just cutting-edge tech in a futuristic facility. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are your pain-fighting experts, and they're going to take care of you. Call now, 615-246-5009 for the $34 presidential special. 615-246-5009. You need a pain-free life? Go to painisbad.com. 11:36, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us on a variety of platforms, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or the FM dial. You can watch the show. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and our personal favorite, YouTube. Jump inside the chat, hit like, hit subscribe, do all the things. It's now time for everyone's favorite segment. We're calling this the Lightning Round.
It's the Lightning Round with Chris Hand.
Yeah, we're doing the Lightning Round every day this time. Any last-minute hot takes of anything that we talked about or anything we didn't talk about, 615-737-9986. That's what we're doing. We're doing this all the time during the Lightning Round. Yeah, anytime I say lightning, just hit that. It's not the Thunder Round. All the haters will say, that's thunder. That's lightning. So we got some stuff. I missed Father's Day yesterday. I got delayed. Delayed. I didn't get home until like 9:45.
Oh, man.
It was a bummer. Got home to some really great notes, though.
Yeah, that's cool.
My 7-year-old, he left me a note, and he said, "Dear Dad, thanks for stopping Joe Biden from robbing the bank." And I was like, single tear, just right down the cheek. I had to bring it up in the Lightning Round. I did. Here are some Father's Day facts for you. Are you ready for this? U.S. children from a fatherless home. 90% of runaway homeless kids, fatherless homes. 75% of all teenage murderers, fatherless homes. 71% of high school dropouts, fatherless homes. 70% of kids that are incarcerated currently, fatherless homes. 63% of youth suicide, fatherless homes. 60% of all rapists, fatherless homes. Dads matter. I don't know if you know this. Dads matter. In fact, I would even go a step further. I think that fathers not being in the home are a bigger threat to America than Iran. Hot take? Is that a hot take? I think it's actually accurate. Children that are raised without a dad in the home. Black families, 64% of them are raising children without a dad in the home. Latino families, that's 42%. White families, 24%. Asian families, 16%. Instead of whining about that being racist, maybe we can focus on the real crisis in this country, fatherless homes and the issues that it leads to. Dads need to step up. Don't have a kid and don't make those decisions if you're not going to stick around. We need more dads in this country, 100%. That's the first story in the Lightning Round. Speaking of parents, why would you ever bring your kids to one of these protests? Does anybody understand that? There's all these No King's Day protests going on, and you see little kids at them. And then we also have all these pride festivals going on, and you see little kids at them. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? In fact, there was a No King's Day protest in Toronto, which makes no sense because Canada answers to kings. They actually have a king that they answer to. So there's a No King's Day protest, and all these Canadians have their kids with them. And all of a sudden, because it's also Pride Month, you look to your left and it's the great big gay naked bicycle ride. Yep, that happened in Toronto. It's an absolute mess. We shouldn't be allowing this to happen in our 51st state. We shouldn't. There's little kids in the crowd. Oh, there's a naked bike ride. We don't want Trump. Oh, there's a penis. Nice. Awesome. Way to go, Canada. Way to go. That's just one of the stories during the Lightning Round. Mason, I said lightning, man. Lightning. Come on, man. You got to step it up.
No!
Sorry.
Sorry, I said lightning without my mic. Did
you see on Friday Senator Alex Padilla? He got tackled and cuffed. Did you see that? Oh my gosh, was that not the best?
That was traumatizing.
It was really hard. Did you know that Senator Alex Padilla is actually very mild-mannered? Everybody was shocked about this.
Anyone that knows Alex Padilla knows one thing about Alex Padilla. He's one of the most mild-mannered, decent people you'll meet.
I know Alex Padilla to be among the most mild-mannered of colleagues.
And Jamie is right. He is very mild-mannered. He's not the type of person who would necessarily do this.
People who may not be familiar with Senator Padilla, he is one of the most mild-mannered, nerdy, soft-spoken.
Who thinks of him as anything other than a reasoned, reasonable, mild-mannered senator.
That last guy who's called him mild-mannered was Senator Chris Coons, who's obviously not a great judge of character because he let Joe Biden sniff his daughter and then he still worked for him and touted his accomplishments. Do you see that? You remember that? Anybody else remember that?
Oh.
It's been scarred into my memory because it's Coons standing there and his daughter's there, and then Biden goes in for the sniff. She tries to back away, and he pulls her in closer. He's like, "No,
you stay there."
Come on, man.
Sorry.
That was weird, Vivek.
That was weird. That was weird. All right, that's one story in the lightning round. He's very mild-mannered.
Oh, what was that?
Lightning. Alex Padilla, though, his defense has been the ever popular "Don't you know who I am?" That's what he's been going with. The "Don't you know who I am?" I actually think that makes it even worse. Dude, you were acting like a lunatic and you're a senator. Stop. This is him saying, "Don't you know who I am?" over the weekend on State of the Union.
Democrats say that Secretary Noem should resign. Is that where you are?
Look, that's maybe not my focus right now, but I do think there's some serious questions. How does the cabinet secretary not know the senator from California when she steps foot into Los Angeles? She came through the Center for Confirmation at one point. And certainly, how does the Secretary of Homeland Security not know how to de-escalate a situation? It's because you can't or because they don't want to. And it sets the tone. Donald Trump and Secretary Noem have set the tone for the Department of Homeland Security and the entire administration in terms of escalation and extreme enforcement actions.
Escalation and extreme enforcement. I'm a sitting senator. I'm not allowed to just viscerally yell from the back of a room and have spit flying out of my mouth and approach the podium in a menacing manner. Is that what you're telling me? Don't you know who I am? I'm a senator. I'm a senator from California. Nicole Wallace from MSNBC. She was very upset. Did you see this? Did you see her?
No.
They zoomed her in. They zoomed her in for an interview.
They got close up on her, huh?
So they're in her living room, and I don't know if you do this. I always look at the background. Her house is a mess.
I do too, man.
Her house is an absolute wreck. I don't know what's going on at her house, but she called it one of the bleakest days. It was It was looking a little bleak.
This was one of the bleakest days of anchoring that I've ever had in the job. I mean, I think were prepared, on the losing side of the November contest for Trump to do things that we warned he would do in his embrace of autocracy and Orban and Putin and others. But as your former colleague Ben Rhodes said on my show today, I mean, Orban hasn't done this. This is he's to the autocratic, right of Orban. And to be doing what they're doing in full view of the cameras really does make the mind expand in new directions in terms of wondering what they're doing to people who don't have, who aren't one of a body of 100.
My mind is expanding in all these new directions, says Nicole Wallace on MSNBC. Such a bleak day. And, I for one, want to live in a country where a senator from California can scream and yell from the back of the room, approach a podium at a fast pace while having spit flying from his mouth, and be allowed to approach the DHS secretary. That's the America I want to live in. That says Nicole Wallace. We got more in the lightning round. You ready for this? MSNBC was very surprised to learn that the dark, malevolent energy they expected to be part of the 250th celebration for the Army, that parade, was missing.
I will say, I want to go back to you, Allie, that again, when we talk about the sort of tension in the country, and sometimes, you and I have both been at Trump rallies, those can be, very tense, a kind of, I would say, like kind of a dark, malevolent energy sometimes in them.
So
not
dark.
always, but it doesn't seem like that's the energy on the mall today, which I think is a good sign, right?
Very surprised to learn that people are just there to celebrate the Army.
Yeah, what a weird idea that was.
We were looking for dark, malevolent energy. We thought that Donald Trump would be handing out an armband of some sort and introducing his new salute to the crowd. He did not, and we were very surprised. We were very surprised. These people are insane. A lot of the Democrats have been saying this was a failure, huge failure. Brett Baer said that what you saw was a giant recruiting video in parade form, and he said that it works. He said that they spend millions upon millions of dollars to create recruitment videos, and that this was a powerful recruitment video. And then Senator Fetterman, I know, Senator Fetterman. Here, put the tweet up on the screen for me. He quote tweeted the parade from the U.S. Army, and he said, "This parade is comprised of our sons, daughters, mothers, and fathers, the very best of us. Regardless of your politics, it's appropriate to celebrate 250 years of sacrifice, dedication, and service." A very level-headed take from Senator Fetterman. And it seems like we've been getting used to more level-headed takes from Fetterman. And so he's probably on his way out as a Democrat. He's going to be an independent, I would imagine, relatively in short order. We got more on the lightning round. Get ready. If you got a last-minute hot take or something that you want to get in, something we talked about, something we didn't, 615-737-9986. Let's go to Susan in Tennessee. Susan, welcome into the lightning round. Susan.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hi, how are you, Chris?
I'm good. Give me your take real quick.
So, regarding what you were saying, the enslaved work and illegal workers in hospitality industry and farms,
Mm-hmm.
it is a real thing. And the companies might say that in their payroll, they only have legal workers. But in fact, they hire staffing companies, or I would call them like pimps,
Yep.
that hire or that are in charge of providing them with illegal workers.
Yeah, I mean, and you see that across all industry, right? So it happens in contracting too. A contractor will outsource to a guy to do a job, and then that guy hires the illegal aliens. The same is being done in the hotel industry. You're absolutely right. Where it's the staffing company. So on their books and in their paperwork, they're paying a staffing company. They're not hiring illegals, and that's how they circumvent getting busted for this.
Exactly, and the legal workers have to pay tips under the table to these illegal workers.
Yep, and it hurts American citizens at the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely, and we pay taxes on that money. So in our W-2 shows that we make 12% more than what we really made, because the 12% or whatever the percentage is in the company has been given under the table.
Yeah.
And it's people that get things for free, like when it comes to having babies, they can have babies for free, because they don't have insurance.
Yep.
And they just go like, I don't speak English or whatnot, and everything is covered, while the people that we are paying taxes and whatnot,
And then your health insurance costs go up to cover the people that are in those hospitals. It's a never-ending cycle, Susan. You're absolutely right, and I appreciate you calling into the lightning round. I got time for one more caller real quick. Nick in Summertown. Nicholas on Israel and Iran. What's up, man?
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call, Mr. Hand.
Absolutely. I appreciate you holding.
I've never called in before. For a while there, I kind of gave up hope on WTN. I thought, well, they're just going to, blindly support Israel no matter what happens. But this morning you told the truth about Benjamin Netanyahu and about how this guy has been saying all kinds of stuff that's unsubstantiated for decades now.
Yeah.
And people really, we really need to stop being blind supporters and start holding them a little bit accountable for what they're doing, because it's not right.
Yeah, and at certain times with Israel, and here's the thing, I think it's important to point out, and I appreciate your call, Nick. I think it's important to point out that before October 7th, Netanyahu was in big trouble in Israel. Okay, big trouble. Half the country doesn't like him. He could have been thrown in jail. He's not like this angel. He's not. And maybe in that region you don't need an angel. You can argue that too. And I might tend to agree. But no, he's lied over and over and over again. Half the country doesn't support him. You need to take what he says with a grain of salt, just like you would any leader. I'm all for supporting the Jewish people. But every government is susceptible to corruption, and every government is going to want to position themselves in the best light and the best favor. And you have to just be aware of that. I still don't want to fight his war at all. I don't want my sons to fight his war at all. We don't need another Middle Eastern quagmire. Appreciate that call. It's 11:51. We'll check in with Chad Benson next to see what's coming up on his show right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:57, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Chad Benson's in studio. What's up, Chad?
What's up, brother?
Happy belated Father's Day, sir.
Yeah, how was yours? You were in. Did you get back yesterday?
Nah, I got back at like 9:45. Everybody was asleep.
Oh.
I tried to like sneak in, give the kids hugs.
Yeah.
Just, they snored right through it.
It's okay. They were there. They were happy.
My 7-year-old left me a note. He said, "Happy Father's Day, Dad.
That's cool.
Thanks for stopping Joe Biden from robbing the bank." Single tear.
Thanks for doing us a solid, Dad.
Thanks,
for
Dad.
doing us a solid.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? How was the travels?
Travel's okay. The weekend was wild. It was a weird contrast because you're at the Young Women's Leadership Summit with Turning Point USA, and you have all these young girls who are like headed in the right direction, and they're pushing for conservative values, and they're going that way. And you got high schoolers and college girls and young moms, so it's like really hopeful. And then anytime you'd go backstage, it was very concerned.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like the duality of it was very, very weird.
You've got the world on fire. You've got 4 to 6 million people marching in the street wearing, Betsy Ross clothes, and you've got it's a weird time. Normally this time of the year, super quiet, right? We all take our vacations. Nothing happens. You can't turn around. I went home Friday and had to redo my morning national show for my afternoon audience because of Iran and all of the attacks. It's insane.
You know what I realized last night, which blew my mind? It hasn't even been a year since the Joe Biden-Trump debate.
No.
It hasn't even been a year.
No, it hasn't been.
It's been, what, August Kamala was announced as the heir apparent, and Tim Walz was announced as VP. So it's been, what, we're looking at 8 months, 10 months. It's crazy what's happened.
It's just like, it feels like the longest, that 10 months is like the longest year of our life in politics.
Yeah.
Just from July and the assassination attempt all the way through till now, it's just non-stop.
Yep.
Everything is hair on fire.
It's crazy.
I don't want hair on fire.
I don't like, you don't like hair in general.
No, I don't. I like to, it's very easy to do in the morning. I'll tell you that. I was telling everybody, I'm going to probably piss people off too. I've been saying it for a long time.
Whoa. You are going to piss off this audience?
I'm with you, dude. I want no part of this war. I want nothing to part of it. If you want to shoot down some missiles, great. If you want to make sure they have some stuff, great. I don't want to spend billions of dollars and trillions of dollars to overthrow a government because that's what it is. And we're going to nation build, and we're not good at nation building.
No, we fail.
Yeah.
Every time. Is Iraq better?
No.
Is Afghanistan better?
God, no.
Is Libya better?
No.
I mean, Syria? You think Syria's in a better spot?
No, none of them are. None of what do we do? Spend money, spend lives, spend youth, spend future.
And then we get nothing.
Nothing.
Like, here's the thing. You want to tell me that the Iraq war was a success because we got all this oil? Well, we didn't.
Yeah.
Like, at least get something.
Yeah. And we got rid of the guy that was, yes, he was crazy, he was awful, but he kept crazy awful in most of the time.
He did. He really did.
Yeah.
It's messed up, man.
It is.
Chad's in next. 12 o'clock, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.